Well, hello everybody on the Demonstrator Planning Place. I'm LeeAnn Greff, and I have been asked to talk about my Life is Beautiful stamp set. That is a $1 Million Achiever set. So let's see who's on. Oh, Annette is on already. All right, let me see if I can get my laptop to sync up so I can watch comments. All right, it looks like we're ready. Okay. All right, so I'm LeeAnn Greff. I've been a demonstrator for 15 years, and I live in Minot, North Dakota. I'm married and have 3 adult children and 1 grandchild, a daughter. Granddaughter, Eliza. Can you tell I'm nervous? It's a lot of people on this group. I do Facebook Lives frequently on my business page, but not to this many people. Hello, everybody. Let's see, I am not quite seeing comments yet. Let's wonder why. Let's see. I don't know why I'm not seeing comments. I am sorry. That is very strange. I'm seeing them on my phone, but I'm kind of hard to see. Okay, hello everybody. All right, so I have to compliment everybody who's been using this stamp set because there have been a ton of amazing projects out there, and you're inspiring me, and it looks like most people love the set. So if you have it already, give me a little heart or a thumbs up on the live so I can see how many people are enjoying this. All right, so yeah, who has it? I'm anxious to see how many people are watching and how many have it. And if you have any comments or questions, please ask me. If I don't see them on the screen right now, I will answer your questions later. Okay, so really quick, I wanted to talk about why I designed this stamp set or helped design it, because Alan was the designer. And I wanted a scene builder. I love building scenes with stamps and creating backgrounds. And a tree was kind of a natural thing for me to use because I wanted something that was gender neutral. Even though my nickname is Flowerbug, I did not want to do flowers. And the tree is kind of special to our family because my father-in-law, who was a wonderful man, loved trees, and he especially loved dead trees without leaves for some reason. He just thought they were very artistic. And so there's a few reasons why I chose this this type of stamp to do. So, all right, let's get started. I'm going to share some projects, and I have like 20 or maybe 25 minutes to do that, and I have quite a few projects. So I am going to turn down the camera and change it, and so bear with me here. Hold on a second. I don't have a fancy system to do this, so I'm sorry if I'm making anybody dizzy. Okay, there we go. Bring this forward a little. Hopefully that is in screen. Okay, all right, let's get started. So, oh, my video froze. Hopefully you are all okay. See if I can recycle that. All right, so I'm going to show you what, oh, and I just lost some of my pieces. I'm going to show you what I was inspired by to make this next card. So this is a card that I did a few months ago using a sponge scene for Halloween. And I thought I'd show you how this is made. Okay, so this of course uses a Halloween theme, but I didn't want to do Halloween. I wanted to do a kind of just I don't know if I'd call this all occasion, but this is the card I'm going to show right now. So it does show you how to do this sponged colored moon and a little bit of a scene in the background. Also, I wanted to share with you how I'm so glad you guys are liking this set. Thank you so much. I used the plaid builder die for this window. You see the cool window here? So when you cut out the plaid builder die and use your rectangle stitch framelits, you can build a window frame. And the rectangle stitch framelits, this is the 3rd and 5th dies from the largest. Okay, so that's how you do that. Then I just use a little bit of, well, first I'm going to snip the rest of it. I did trim most of this off to create the window. So just snip that, add a little bit of adhesive, and I prefer the liquid glue. Just a little bit on the edge. You don't need much, you don't want it to ooze. And then find the right side. Did you know there's a right and a wrong side of your dies? The right side is a little smoother, and that has to come up a little bit. And there you have a window. And then just add some dimensionals to the back. So it's super neat and easy window with these new plaid builder dies that we have. So that's how that is done. Now I'm going to show you the sponging technique and the masking. So did you know that there are sticky notes that are sticky everywhere? They have stickiness everywhere. And I think Leslie's watching. She's one of my team members who gave me these. So I think they're super neat. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to do the moon or the background first. And this was blue, but I've used it, of course, to sponge already. So the nice thing about having them sticky all over is they don't lift up as you're sponging. So I have a couple favorite tips on sponging, and I'm not gonna finish the entire card, but I want to give you some tips here. So one thing is to fold over a piece of punched cardstock or a circle or something and use that to hold your sponge. And yeah, that's right. There are, let's see if I can get this little frame to go away. I can't. I'm seeing some comments, but I've got something that is blocking. There we go, it went away. No, it didn't. Oh well, I'll get moving. So when you're sponging, you don't want to push hard. You just want to do a little bit of a sponging, and you don't push so much you get like fingerprint marks on your sponge. And always start off the paper to work your way on, and just use circular motion. And then you don't get that dab. See that dab mark there? You want that on your scrap paper. You don't want that on your perfectly beautiful background that you're creating. So always, and less is more. You can always add more, but you can't add less or take away that dabbing mark. So you just keep going around and get as dark as you want. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I can do it later. I can actually do it after I stamp my tree. So I'm going to continue that. I really want to get to all the projects today. So then you would go to your other color, and that was Pacific Point, and this is Rich Razzleberry, and this one I'm going to start from the bottom. And you might want to be careful not to start where that is so you don't pick up the blue. And again, I'm just going to start off the paper and slowly work my way on. And you can always add more. Thanks, Donna. I'm glad you appreciate the sponging techniques. I love sponging, and that's one of the reasons I chose this type of set as my $1 Million Achiever set, is because I absolutely love building backgrounds and scenes. So you would just keep going and build darker and darker. So I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to try and get all these projects done, and to show you some cards at the end too. So then I'm going to peel this mask off, and like I said, it's sticky everywhere. I think you have to get these in an office supply store. And then you're going to put and this is a 1.5 inch circle. I'm sorry I didn't say that. This is a punch that I just punched the 1.5 inch circle out of. And now you're going to get that within your sponged area. And I'm going to use Daffodil Delight now. Now on this card, I did do Pumpkin Pie, which is really nice spooky moon. But this time I just want a nice yellow moon. So now I'm going to go just around the edges. Most of my ink is on the Post-it note. I'm only getting the edge because I kind of want a whiter, lighter center. And I also want to be careful I don't get onto that area or here too much. And so it's nice to have a lighter ink just in case I get a little bit on there. But having that lighter center gives some depth to the moon. Okay, so there, and there is a little bit of a halo of white around there. Maybe just, you either had it off a little bit, or when you punch, it kind of eliminates some of the paper, I think, or it shrinks or something. I don't know. Okay, so to stamp that, like I said, I'm not going to put this whole card together, but I have had my tree the stamp on, and you can see this is a very, very well loved stamp. I used it at my club, and we used dark brown ink, and I think there's a little bit of red in there because it stains. There's just no getting around it. It does stain. So I can, and the nice thing about using the Stamparatus and the grid paper, I can see exactly where I want my tree. I kind of want it off to the edge, and that branch in the moon. Okay, so we're gonna use black ink, and the other thing I like to do is put a stamp set underneath here. And this is the Mountain Air, because I did use the little birds from the Mountain Air set. So just ink. And the Stamparatus, this tree is so large, the Stamparatus is just perfect for the tree. You either have to use the largest clear block, or you need to use the Stamparatus. And a Stamparatus is awesome, because if you don't get it on all the way, or you didn't ink it all the way, just do it again. And you'll see some more of my tips using the grid paper here in a little bit. So there's a whole different version of this card. And this is Rich Razzleberry Layer. Like I said, I'm not going to stamp everything. I just really want to get to all the projects. So I used the ornate frames for this little piece right here, and I did stamp the hello from the set and a little bit of the In Good Taste paper. So I would pop this up with our black mini dimensionals, and I actually do cut a little sliver for the center of the frame so it doesn't collapse in the center. Oh, and the other cool thing, after, I think I can stamp my my birds afterwards, but add a little wink of Stella on the moon, and then you get really shimmery effect on your moon. And did you know if you color it twice with your wink of Stella, it gets even more shimmery? So I don't know if you can see that. I can hold it up a little bit. So there you go. There is the first card. Almost done, not quite. I'll finish it later, but you get the gist. Okay, so moving on, we will do something totally different and a little bit unusual. I'm going to show you that you don't need to use the entire stamp set. You can just use a couple of the parts of it. So this stamp set is distinctive, and it gives like a multi-hued textured image. It adds dimension and depth in just a single stamp, and I really wanted the bouquet dots within my set, and then of course I wanted leaves and snowflakes because I wanted it to be an all occasions set. So that's a little bit more about that, and I love the title that they chose. I chose that title and some of these words, and they named it Life is Beautiful. So yeah, really cool. And the next one, I'm going to use the bouquet dots image, and here is my first try at a rainbow background. So I'm going to change this up. I have a hard time making the same card multiple times. So here's the first version, and I'm going to do a version in purples and blues now instead of rainbow. So I'm just going to get my stamps, my ink pads. We're going to use 6 different ink pads here, and I think that's what I used there. Bright primary colors, this time purples and blues. Okay, so the bouquet dots image, we're going to start in the corner, and I'm going to be cleaning between each one with my simple chamois, which I have out here, very well loved also. So this is Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to stamp a couple times on this part. And because the next one is Highland Heather, it's similar purple, I'm just going to stamp off. I'm not going to clean. And I'm going to go lighter, and I'm going to overlap a little bit. You can see they're very similar. And now I will clean. Then, you just ordered your set tonight, Sue. Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. I'm really anxious to see if it's going to carry over. What do you all think? Do you think it'll carry over? I hope so. They're not guaranteed to anymore. the $1 Million Achiever sets, and they've already made their decision. It doesn't even matter whether it's a good seller or not. The decision has been made because the catalog is done. The new the annual catalog is already, what I think they call it, put to bed or something like that. So that's Pool Party Coastal Cabana. And next, hello everybody. Thank you. Oops, upside down. Thank you so much for joining and watching, and I hope you get a lot of good tips from my projects today. Like I said, you've inspired me a lot. I just love seeing what everybody's doing with it. All right, last, not quite last, but this is Pretty Peacock. Overlapping just a little bit. What do you think? I think this one is worse. These are my colors. I mean, if you know me, you know that I love blues and purples too, but blues and greens, that's me. So this, I'm going back to Gorgeous Grape. So what I did here, I used the, let's see, the Happy dies and So Much Happy to finish this card. And I just cut that out on the angle. And so I have this, and I also did, let me move this away here, cut this, I purposely cut this longer, and then I rested it on the edge here and trimmed it off so it would line up nicely. Then I did the same thing with a scrap of white. But what I did here on the colors, you're gonna kind of maybe freak out a little bit. Oops, oh, and I just dropped it. There it is. As you can see, my set is very, very well loved. And what I did is on this stamp, this bouquet dot, I cut off a piece. When I did a card for club that we needed red apples, and I wanted to stamp just a couple apples here and there, so I cut it right off of the stamp, and then I could stamp them separately. And I find that I'm using that a lot. Like you can see on these little dots here, I was able to just ink up the few dots and stamp in all these bright colors. And here I'll probably just stamp in some blues and purples. But when I want to stamp this or use this as a solid image, I just put it right back on the block and it's whole again. So don't be too afraid to cut up your stamps and use them separately. I know it feels, maybe some of you cannot do it. Yeah, stamp surgery, exactly. All right, so you can kind of see how the card will turn out, except for maybe the green. I wouldn't change. I would change the granny apple green on there. And I did stamp a little to celebrate you from the stamp set on there and added it to the bottom. So that's the second card. All right, what are you thinking so far? You liking the projects? Thank you. All right, so next I'm gonna show, this card I've shown before, but it's such a neat technique. I really think you should give it a shot. So here I just used the leaves in the set and not anything else but the greeting. So how this is done, so neat and so easy. You heat emboss. I stamped the leaves image 3 times on here, embossed them with white. And all you do is use our blends markers and color. It's that simple. And it does take a little bit of time, but the neat thing about this is as you color even if you go over the embossed image, it doesn't show because you're on black cardstock. So it's really cool, and it's a very forgivable technique. So you just color a bunch of leaves with random colors. Here I used Mango Melody and Bermuda Bay. There you can see my turquoise again that I like to use. So you just color randomly and you end up with this gorgeous multicolored leaf image. So thanks, I'm glad you like that. It's just so relaxing and fun, and our blends markers are amazing. But when you have a solid image like this, and yes, I know it is a distinctive image, so it's not completely solid, but enough where you can color with the blends markers. All right, so that's the third project. I still have a couple more, and then a few show and tell things at the end, and I've got to keep this as short as I can. So we're gonna get into fall now. So this card is inspired by the Gilded Autumn designer paper, and I have a few tricks for this one too to show you. So I'm going to get my Stamparatus back out and decide where I want my tree. And the neat thing about the tree is you can stamp it off to the side if you want to, or the bottom, and yeah, just have fun with where you're stamping. Okay, so we're going to use Early Espresso this time. Get this in camera here. I think I'm a little crooked, aren't I? Sorry about that. I get a little bit busy stamping and forget to look how the camera is doing. Let's see, is that a little straighter? Okay, all right. Oh, why did I put the green there? Gosh, I want this piece, the vanilla. So that was a mint macaron, and Cajun craze are my colors here. Yeah, that's about what I want. Okay, so we'll stamp that. That's easy. Stamparatus makes it so quick. How many of you have the Stamparatus? Have you succumbed yet? It really is well worth it, I have to tell you. All right, so we're using mint macaron and Cajun craze for our leaves. And have you noticed the falling leaves on here? So that's one of the things I want to kind of show you is, I'm going to start with the light color, is how to get these falling leaves around there. The other thing I want to do before that, sorry, is stamp my Field of Flowers background for the bottom. I wanted a little bit of grass. That was one thing I would have liked to have added to this set, was some grass at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way down and stamp that. So this set is perfect. The Field of Flowers is perfect for the grass here. Okay, so we're going to stamp some leaves here, and maybe I probably stamped a little bit, or stamped my tree a little further over than I probably should have. A few on the bottom just to fill in. Then I'm going to clean this stamp, and the neat thing about how I designed the leaves, you can see well loved, is that there are some off to the side. So now what I do is ink up. Since I have a nice clean stamp, I just ink that up and stamp some falling leaves. So there I've got some falling leaves in that color, in the mint. Now I can add some in the Cajun craze. First, I'm going to add the birdhouse. Don't you love the birdhouse? I wanted something hanging from the tree, and we were trying to think, do we want a rope swing? What do we want? And then we came up with the birdhouse idea. It's so cool. Okay. All right, now to do the rest of the leaves, I'm going to stamp off once and once. I love how our inks have multi-hued. We can get so many different levels of ink by stamping off a couple times. Okay, once again, I'm going to clean my stamp and start adding some of those random falling leaves. There. So now you can get, oops, a little falling leaves image, and you could do more. Just so you have a clean stamp, you can do that. And another tip I was going to share with you, well, I have a friend, actually my assistant, and she loves to fussy cut. So she cut all of these pumpkins and gourds out for me. And I did a bunch of things, a sampler swap with these. So I just adhered those together and added some dimensionals on the back. It stamped my greeting on here and added a bow, a linen thread bow. So that's the fall card for today. All right, so I have just one more I want a quick show, and we're running out of time already. Can you believe it? Okay, I want to get into winter and do, because this is an all-season set. So I really, really love our Snowflake Splendor designer paper. I think it's absolutely stunning. So I did this card here, and this is stamped on the designer paper itself. So I have a tip for you when you do that. Okay, let me clean this because I think that was in brown, and now we're going to go into black. Okay, so this was the card that inspired this one, and this was done at my Christmas Stamp-A-Stack, and it was a 2-layer card with the tree, like this one, only on white. So this was a great Stamp-A-Stack card to use for a class, but this one maybe not so much because of the use of the designer paper. So I don't have measurements for you, but you know, you don't really need them. You just need to have a smaller rectangle than a larger. Now, can you see I have some pen marks that fit my designer paper? So that way at a class, now I usually don't have quite this many, but at a class, they can tell exactly where to put their pieces of paper. So that's really helpful when they're at a class. They just put the paper right where it is. Okay, so we're going to add black in the tree, and then you add the second layer. I think I'll put the purple at the top, and you can see again my little pen marks where the paper is to go. So I love our grid paper that makes it so easy to line up. Hello everybody, thank you for joining. Okay, so we're done with the tree. Like I said, I leave that tree on here almost all the time. It just makes it really simple to stamp. All right, so now I'm going to ink just a few things in Highland Heather and Balmy Blue, which are the colors in this paper. So I just have to find my snowflakes, and I did the same thing with this stamp. I cut off part of my snowflakes. Let's see, I think it goes right there. So I can put it back together, but when I want to have falling snowflakes and a few snowflakes here and there, I can separate them. So it's very easy to do, and we are going to use the bouquet dots image and the snowflakes. So the bouquet dots are going to be in the Highland Heather. And just stamp those a few times. And on this one especially, because, actually I'm going to go up a little higher too. And this is the one in front. Just so cool. I just love these dots. They're so fun. And then the snowflakes are going to be in the Balmy Blue. And I think I might need to be re-inking my Balmy Blue. It's a little, maybe it's just the paper. It doesn't show up quite as much as maybe I'd like it to. So and this is going to be outside the main image because of course my smaller piece fits over it. So then, one thing I forgot is the ground. One of my favorite images is this ground, which can also be clouds, and I will show you that in just a little bit. So I should call it shadow. So you can add as much or as little as you want of the shadow. So then when you're putting this together, you can see, you glue that and match up your tree and pop it up on dimensionals, and there you have your kind of a 3D double layered tree. And the other thing I did was spritzed it. So right now, I'm going to use my bone folder on this so it doesn't keep popping open. I have a mixture of our champagne shimmer spray and probably about this much on the bottom, and the rest is rubbing alcohol in here. I love the champagne shimmer paint because it just gives it such a glitz, and you just spray. And the reason I use rubbing alcohol is it dries really fast. So I don't know if you can see how shimmery it is in person. I don't think it's going to show up quite as well on the camera, but it is very shimmery, and it does dry very quickly, so you can go ahead and put your cards together almost right away. I also did add some of our adhesive snowflakes on here, which are perfect with the designer paper, the colors in there. So that's the projects that I'm sharing today, but I do have some quick show and tell just to show you some other things that I've done really quick. I'm about out of time here. So glad you guys are loving it. Thank you. So this was one of my first cards that I made with it for 4th of July. I used the snowflakes as starbursts on a tree. So kind of unique, but yeah, artistic license, right? Little, what do I want to say? Fireworks in the tree. And here's an example of using the bouquet dots when you take them off you cut part away. You can color them with red and stamp them with red. Among the green leaves, you have apples. And here's just a really pretty spring card, like apple blossoms. Here is a couple masked cards with an oval mask. So here I use the same sponging technique and cut out an oval out of just a piece of crumb cake. It doesn't matter what color. And I made it the same size as my cardstock. So, well, in this case I did. You can kind of see the colors. This is Rich Razzleberry and I think Coastal Cabana and Pretty Peacock. So that's the sponging technique. And here's another one, just partial tree for a Halloween card. Here is another Halloween card that I made, and you can see that I used the ground or that shadow image as clouds. And that is done with white craft ink. I didn't heat emboss it, I just wanted it really subtle clouds. And this is, thank you everybody, I'm so glad you like it. So this is also Pacific Point and Rich Razzleberry again for a spooky moon scene. Here's another card that shows the tree off to the side. I actually stamped it twice, so you can see a few other branches coming off here. You can see kind of that tree coming off there. So here's some more clouds in the sky. This is Pool Party, Calypso Coral, I think some soft suede, and some Daffodil Delight. And I made a bookmark. So there's a pretty little bookmark that you can do with some of the sequins for everything on there. Here's a fun fold card for my friend Susie. She's so wonderful with fun folds, and I was inspired by one of her cards that she gave me to make this one. This uses our plaid tidings paper, unusual colors with pumpkin and blackberry bliss. Stampin' Up is so smart with their designer paper. They always inspire me to try new color combinations. So that's that card. And lastly, a cute little snowman card, a winter card with, oh, I forget the name of this stamp set. But yeah, a little bit of snow on the ground, some snowflakes in the air among the trees. So that's what I have for you today. So an idea that I did for this stamp set when it first came out in August, I believe, was I designed 8 cards, actually 4. Well, I did 8, but I would suggest another person, regular, normal person, if I was going to do it again, design 4 cards, offer 2 of each in a card kit to go, and they get the stamp set with it. But you pre-cut the cards, and people love pre-cut card kits. They don't want to design and cut out their own. So this is a great class idea that include product with your class and have them pre-order it, and then you order it cut out for the amount you need. And yeah, they just love pre-cut kits, let me tell you. All right, oh, one thing I was gonna mention that I forgot before I forget is the fact that you can change the position of your tree. Remember photopolymer? You can give it a curve, you can give it, you can change it and have it like be kind of off to the side. So don't forget photopolymer is very bendable. You can give it a nice little curve in the tree. So I was gonna mention that. All right, that's all I have, I think, for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and I hope you love the stamp set and the projects that I shared today. So one thing I want to challenge you all to do is to make a card and send a card this week. I know it's Thursday, but within the next week, let's all send 2 cards, because that's what we do. Let's make somebody's day and send them some cards. Let them know we're thinking of them. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Sorry I went over a little bit. I hope you enjoyed the projects, and have fun and take care. Bye-bye.